General of NESDC, Dr. Luis de Mello, Director of the Country Studies, Economics Department, OECD, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the launch of the second OECD Economic Survey of Thailand 2023. We are thrilled to have you with us today as we embark on a journey of insightful discussions and meaningful exchanges. Today, we gather with anticipation and enthusiasm to unveil a comprehensive analysis that delves into the economic landscape of Thailand, focusing on the pursuit of a strong and inclusive green recovery. My name is Kim Jilakiet Wachalachai, a policy and plan analyst at NESDC, and I will be your host for today. Ladies and gentlemen, today's event is held jointly by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development and the Office of the National Economic and Social Development Council. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please join me in welcoming His Excellency Jullapan Amonviwat, Deputy Minister of Finance, to deliver his opening remarks.
Good morning, Director of Country Studies, OECD, Dr. Luis de Mello, Secretary General of NESDC, Kun Danusha Pichayanan, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to have been invited to make an opening remark for the launch of the second OECD Economic Survey of Thailand 2023 under the topic of pursuing a strong and inclusive green recovery. First of all, I would like to congratulate the OECD and the Office of the National Economic and Social Development Council for the successful collaboration in producing this insightful report and for hosting this distinguished launch event. Thailand, as a non-OECD member, is pleased to participate in the country program with the OECD following the successful implementation of the Thailand country program phase 1 back in 2018 to 2021. Thailand aspires for further deepen our relationship with the OECD and bring the country closer to the OECD standards. Thus, this year, we renewed the OECD Thailand country program for the second phase. The 3-year partnership program will be undertaken from 2023 to 2025 to support Thailand's domestic reform agenda. This has shown Thailand's strong commitment toward an accession for OECD membership in the near future. And this is also one of the key priorities for our government in order to strengthen the international collaboration, in particular with the international economic and development organizations. The new government demonstrates a strong interest in closer relations with the OECD with a view to improve Thailand's long-term competitiveness. Ladies and gentlemen, the country program has been designed to support the implementation of Thailand's 20 years national strategies and the 5-year National Economic and Social Development Plan. Under the second phase of the OECD Thailand country program, the economy survey report is considered a key element for providing insightful analysis and policy recommendations for Thailand. The findings in the reports are well aligned with government goals. Let me briefly highlight Thailand's new government's policy priorities. As the Prime Minister Kun Sethha Thavisin announced in his policy statement to the Parliament when he took the government administration in September, new government policies priorities cover both short-term and long-term periods. For short-term policies, the government realized the importance of reviving the economy, together with resolving key urgent problems, particularly those related to households' cost of living. These include addressing debt issues in the agricultural sector, business sector, and low-income households. Recently, the cabinet endorsed a debt suspension plan for millions of small-scale farmers and SMEs for 3 years. In addition, the government has endeavored to reduce the burden of energy costs upon which the vitality of the economy and the people depend, and also to promote income generation from tourism industry. Over the medium and long-term policies, the government aims to uplift competitiveness for the people and country through income generation, together with expanding opportunities and reducing inequality, as well as improving quality of life for all Thai people. In terms of income generation, our focus revolves around several key strategies. These include proactive economic diplomacy to facilitate the entry into the new markets for Thai products and services, promoting new economic development and industries such as digital economy, high-tech industry, and green industry. In addition, the government focused on investment in key transportation infrastructure to expand trade opportunity. Worth mentioning are the high-speed train project and land bridge projects. The government also aims to boost income within the agricultural sector by increasing efficiency and productivity, as well as improving water management system. In terms of creating opportunities, our strategy prioritizes on cultivation of creativity and soft power, aiming to uplift knowledge and skill among Thais, in addition to creating value added and leveraging local arts, culture, and wisdom. The government also emphasized on educational system reform to create a lifelong learning society, together with decentralizing education to learner, leveraging modern technology, and place importance on teachers' quality nationwide. In terms of improving the quality of life, the government placed emphasis on conservation of natural resources and environment, as well as mitigating environmental degradation and pollution. Additionally, the government is committed on carbon neutrality target to position Thailand as a leader in ASEAN in reducing carbon emissions. Such sustainable development will unlock opportunities for global trade, benefiting Thai producers of goods and services, as well as allow the government to engage in international trade under new regulations that prioritize efficiency, resource utilization, and environmental friendly business conduct. It is evident that the government policy direction placing importance on economic restructuring along with the transition to green economy has been in line with the recommendation addressed in the OECD Economic Survey report. Ladies and gentlemen, as Deputy Minister of Finance, I could reaffirm that the Ministry of Finance has also made a strong collaboration with the OECD. Apart from the implementation of the country program, there are two key channels that under direct supervision of the Ministry of Finance, including firstly, collaboration under the inclusive framework on base erosion and profit shifting, and secondly, the financing social protection through tax reform in developing country. Thailand became the first member of the Global Forum on Transparency and Exchange of Information for Tax Purpose in 2017. In fact, I just came back from Lisbon last week to join the meeting and speak as a speaker at the meeting in Lisbon about the exchange of information on tax purposes too. Subsequently, in 2021, it became a signatory to the Multilateral Competent Authority Agreement on Automatic Exchange of Financial Account Information. This commitment underscores Thailand's dedication to facilitating automatic information exchange for tax purposes, thereby advancing tax transparency and actively participating in the global collaboration on mitigate tax evasion. The Ministry of Finance has persistently engaged in comprehensive initiatives to reform the national tax system to align with the OECD international standards. A noteworthy development is the recent enactment of the Royal Decree on the exchange of information for international agreements on taxation enacted in March of 2023. As we embark on this collaboration journey with the OECD, we are confident that our joint efforts will yield tangible results and contribute to the betterment of our nation's economic landscapes. The Ministry of Finance stands ready to play its part and our steadfast commitment to the sustainable progress. Ladies and gentlemen, I do sincerely hope that this conference will provide you with useful insights, which will be of great benefit to policy making in Thailand, particularly as we transition toward a more inclusive green economy. May this collaboration between Thailand and the OECD continue to foster sustainable economic development and continue to improve the quality of life for all Thai people. I do hope that the conference will be a great success. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for your presence and for the captivating opening remarks. Could you please remain on the stage for a while as we are now giving a token of appreciation to our esteemed guest and take a group photo together. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Lewis, Director of the Country Studies Economic Department, OECD, on stage to have the token of appreciation from His Excellency Julapan, please. Thank you. Next, may I invite our Secretary General of NESDC, Mr. Danusha, our OECD officials and panelists to kindly join us on stage for group photograph, please. Thank you very much for your cooperation. I will invite you. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now our privilege to welcome Dr. Luis de Mello, Director of the Country Studies Economics Department, OECD. He will be sharing the key findings of the economic survey through a keynote address titled Maintaining a Sound Economic Policy Through the Second Economic Surveys. Please, Dr. Lewis, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Deputy Minister of Finance, Secretary General of the Office of the National Economic and Social Development Council, distinguished guests. It's my great honor to join you today for the launch of the second economic survey of Thailand. The Thailand-OECD relationship has grown much stronger over the years. Building on the successful implementation of the first country program, the second phase program started in March 2023. Today's launch of the economic survey is an important milestone in this endeavor. I'd like to thank the Thai government for their outstanding support in the preparation of the survey, especially the continued engagement of the Office of National Economics and Social Development Council. Let me now turn to a few highlights of this economic survey. Thailand has achieved remarkable economic and social progress over the past decades. However, after a steady convergence of per capita GDP towards the OECD average up to until around 10 years ago, progress has become more moderate, and catch-up has almost stalled since then. This underlines the need to rekindle growth in the post-pandemic environment. After a severe downturn during the pandemic, the recovery is now firmly underway. A strong and timely policy response helped to cushion the negative economic and social impacts of the pandemic and later of the global price surges for energy and food. Nonetheless, the recovery has been moderate and protracted compared to other Southeast Asian economies, as you can see from the chart. Inbound tourism is strongly recovering as Thailand has lifted all pandemic-related border controls since the pandemic. Services exports have increased as the number of foreign tourists rapidly rebounded to close to 11 million people in 2022, up from only 500,000 in 2021. As tourism-related activities account for around 20% of Thai GDP, the strong recovery in this sector has buoyed a rebound in private consumption and investment. External conditions for goods exports have unfortunately not helped in recent months, and weak external demand continues to weigh on short-term growth prospects. The economy experienced a soft patch in late 2020, mainly due to weaker exports of goods, reflecting subdued global growth amid tighter global economic conditions. Like in many other countries, inflation increased amid rapidly rising energy and food prices in 2022. In response to these inflationary pressures, the central bank has been raising its policy rates since August last year. Headline consumer price inflation, which had reached close to 8% in August of 2022, has receded since then, and has actually recently turned negative in year-on-year terms. Against this background, maintaining the current monetary policy stance seems appropriate, while closely monitoring remaining inflationary pressures. Looking ahead, continuously weakening external conditions continued to weigh on short-term economic prospects. OECD projections expect GDP growth in Thailand of about 3.6% in 2024 and 3.2% in 2025. This expected resilience owes much to Thailand's sound macroeconomic policies. At the same time, risks to these projections are probably somewhat tilted to the downside, including possibly weaker external demand and a slower than expected recovery of the Chinese economy. Thailand can build on a history of fiscal prudence, and this has allowed the implementation of bold relief packages during the pandemic. The fiscal deficit has successfully reduced after the pandemic, but this process came to a halt in 2023, where it will likely have similar levels as in 2022. Fiscal policy should now revert to a firm consolidation path. This will also require raising the efficiency of public spending, including by phasing out emergency support measures and concentrating on well-targeted and permanent measures to support vulnerable households. At the same time, the emergency measures enacted during the pandemic have pushed up public debt to over 60% of GDP. The self-imposed self-ceiling of 60% was raised to 70% in 2021. The current debt level is similar to an average for emerging market economies, but returning to the previous debt ceiling would raise credibility, reduce interest costs, and allow the government to rebuild fiscal buffers amid higher interest rates and global uncertainty. While reviewing and streamlining expenditures is crucial, that may not be enough to address future spending pressures, especially those related from population aging. Already, Thailand's old age dependency ratio has more than doubled over the past 2 decades. It's not only higher than other countries in the region, but it's also rising faster. As a result, the population share of those aged 65 and above will rapidly increase from 15% at the moment to 27% between now and 2040. When accounting for additional spending related to aging, our baseline long-term projections for the public debt relative to GDP does not ensure debt sustainability without additional revenue measures. At the same time, it's not difficult to think about a scenario where additional tax revenues ensure public debt sustainability, and our report makes a couple of suggestions on how this could be achieved. Thailand's tax intake is relatively low by international comparison, at 16% of GDP. Tax revenues could be raised by broadening tax bases and improving tax compliance. The personal and corporate income tax systems could be strengthened further, including by reviewing the effectiveness of tax expenditures and allowances. Let me now touch upon some structural issues, starting with social challenges. Over the last 25 years, Thailand has progressively strengthened its social protection, which is very welcome news. A case in point is the universal healthcare system that was established in 2002. Although labor informality has declined among younger generations, it remains persistent and affects around half of employees in Thailand. This has led to a fragmented landscape of social protection benefits, which is not only inefficient from the point of view of public spending, but also reduces long-term incentives for formalization. This would also enable their overall tax and transfer system to do more to reduce income inequality, as currently the difference in inequality before and after taxes and transfers is smaller than in other economies. At the same time, moving more people into formal employment would also imply benefits for productivity and growth, as formal workers typically exhibit higher productivity than informal workers. Current Social Security pensions cover only 50% of the workforce in Thailand, mostly formal sector employees. This is substantially lower than in other countries. Moving towards a unified social protection scheme could provide more effective and more efficient support to the elderly and reduce the cost differential between formal and informal work. Basic universal pensions at levels that prevent old age poverty could be financed from tax revenues and not be conditional on formal sector employment. Tax-funded, non-contributory social assistance benefits are already playing an important role to alleviate old age poverty as they reach 70% of the population over the eligibility age of 60, bringing total pension coverage up to 91%. But their level does not even reach 50% of the poverty line, and raising it could prevent more elderly people from falling into poverty. Against a background of higher social demands in the aftermath of the pandemic, more will need to be done in the future to fight old age poverty, especially as the share of those in pension age rises. Beyond social protection, there is also a strong case for investing more in education and reverse a declining trend in education spending over the years. This is particularly relevant in the aftermath of the pandemic, which has caused widespread learning losses, often concentrated among those with less favorable access to quality education in the first place. This would, once again, be additional spending that would benefit both social inclusion and growth. In fact, we just released the latest vintage of the PISA program this week that points to some important lessons in this direction. An additional area of reforms that our report has focused on are measures to improve the business climate and achieve stronger productivity growth. Labor productivity has been subdued over the last 20 years in Thailand, but rekindling it will call for structural reforms. In particular, stronger competition is crucial to allow the most productive and innovative firms to grow. That will require reviewing some of the market entry barriers that exist across a range of sectors in Thailand. Previous regulatory reform efforts to reduce anti-competitive regulations have slowed, and a comprehensive review of existing regulations would help to eliminate or adapt outdated regulations. Thailand has reaped significant productivity benefits from foreign direct investment, which has fostered its integration into international production networks. Compared to other Southeast Asian countries, however, inward FDI stocks still have scope for further increases. Further policy efforts to stimulate FDI inflows could include easing existing restrictions. Based on the OECD FDI Restrictiveness Index, Thailand's policies are more restrictive than in regional peers. In particular, the services sector can play a more important role in the economy. Nowadays, manufacturing goods contain large part of services contents. Therefore, opening up services markets to competition and foreign direct investment will be key for moving into higher value added ladders in international production networks. The OECD Services Trade Restrictiveness Index indicates that Thailand has a relatively stringent regulatory environment in the services sector, for example, in telecommunications. Reviewing restrictions such as residency requirements for management staff would be useful to improve the business climate for the services sector as a whole. Like for many other countries, the green transition is a difficult challenge, but it should be considered as an opportunity as well. Thailand has made important pledges for global climate mitigation endeavors. These pledges include reaching carbon neutrality by 2050 and net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2065. Achieving these targets will require significant investments and policy changes in order to induce the required changes in economic structures, namely to scale down carbon and energy-intensive activities. The largest source of CO2 emissions is currently the power sector, followed by road transport and industry. In particular, the contribution of transport to total emissions has increased very rapidly. Thailand's CO2 emissions have risen since 2000, as shown by the beige diamonds in this chart. This has been driven essentially by economic growth. At the same time, the Thai economy has become less carbon intensive, which is a good development, as can be seen from the light green part of Thailand's bar, which is negative. This is because, in contrast to other Southeast Asian countries that are heavily reliant on coal, Thailand expanded natural gas use early and has tapped into bioenergy sources. However, reversing the overall rising trend of its CO2 emissions will require a stronger expansion of renewables going forward. Over the last 2 decades, the Thai economy has also been less energy intensive, which is the dark blue part of the bar. However, there is clear scope for further efforts in Thailand, as other countries in the region have achieved stronger energy efficiency gains. How can further progress be achieved? First, carbon pricing is an important element of the policy toolkit. In order for carbon pricing to work most effectively, price controls and subsidies need to be phased out progressively. Explicit energy subsidies are small in Thailand, which is good news. However, regulated energy prices, such as a cap on diesel prices, weaken the effect of market prices and fossil fuel taxes. Thailand has a voluntary emissions trading scheme, but an effective carbon pricing mechanism is still lacking, and carbon prices are relatively low by comparison with OECD countries. A mandatory cap-and-trade system for key sectors, complemented by a carbon tax for the rest, consistent with the planned emissions trajectory to net zero, could become a backbone of the green transition in Thailand. A second point here I would like to make is that a mix of pricing and regulatory measures is likely to enhance the effectiveness and political viability of mitigation efforts. Stricter air pollution standards could be one way forward, including on coal power plants and internal combustion engine cars. Aligning environmental regulations with international good practices will play an important role to accompany price-based measures and strengthen the political acceptability of mitigation efforts. Our OECD Environmental Policy Stringency Index shows that environmental regulations are still relatively weak in Thailand. A third point in this area is that strong expansion of renewables is a high policy priority. Thailand has a high potential of renewables such as solar and wind power. Renewable power generation has advanced, but it's mostly limited to small-scale producers incentivized by feed-in tariffs. The overall share of renewable energy sources remains lower than in peer countries. Accelerating this transformation will require more profound reforms in the energy market. Large-scale energy generation from renewable sources can be accelerated by reducing private entry restrictions into the electricity market and using public tenders to promote renewables. Another point is that greening the transport sector is also crucial. Along with the rapid economic progress of Thailand's economy, motorization is steadily advanced. Thailand has a large automobile production sector that is strong in exports, but also contributes to the evolution of the domestic market. The ongoing motorization provides a good opportunity to green the transport sector overall. The number of electric vehicles is increasing rapidly in Thailand, albeit from low levels. The government has strengthened tax incentives for electric vehicles, aiming to boost new registrations of zero-emission cars. This is a very welcome step. However, many new vehicles do not meet current fuel economy standards. The retirement of old cars is slow and needs to be accelerated. Public transport, especially rail transport, will also need to play an increasing role in reducing transport emissions. Similar to other emerging market economies, roads are the main mode of transport for people and goods in Thailand, while the public transport system is comparatively weak. Less than 20% of intercity rail networks are double or triple track, which limits transportation capacity. Most intercity railways are not electrified, and the scope for greening rail transport is large. Improving public transport will require more investment from both the private and the public sectors, including through public-private partnerships and foreign investment. The collaboration for this economic survey is clear evidence that Thailand and the OECD have developed a very solid and mutually beneficial relationship. The OECD is proud to be a partner of Thailand, and we look forward to continuing our deep and fruitful collaboration. I would like to thank once again the fantastic engagement of the Thai authorities, your words, Deputy Minister of Finance, of support, and we look very much to continue to engage with Thailand and start working as soon as we can on a third economic survey to support your policy reforms. Thank you very much, and I look forward to continuing these discussions. Thank you, Minister. Thank you, authorities.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Lewis, for this insightful discussion. Moving on to our second keynote address, Mr. Danusha Pichayanan, Secretary General of NESDC, will give a keynote speech on the readiness of OECD accession and key responses from Thailand on the 2023 OECD Economic Survey for Thailand. Mr. Danusha Pichayanan, the floor is yours.
Dr. Luis de Mello, Director of Country Study OECD, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to extend my sincere appreciation to the distinguished representative of the OECD, especially the team under the OECD Economic Department, for the commendable effort in conducting a second economic survey in collaboration with the Thai authorities, NSDC. The insights provided by the OECD are invaluable, and the Thai government realized our commitment to fostering economic growth and development, deemed it imperative to respond to the key policy insights and the proposition of the green recovery outlined in the survey. This initiative aligns seamlessly with the strategic directive of the 13th Economic and Social Development Plan, which emphasize economic restructuring through innovation and advanced technology. The economic survey has not only provided us with insightful recommendations of how to achieve robust sustainable growth, but also highlighted the opportunities and challenges of Thailand, particularly the pathway towards green transition. This report has been done in a very timely manner as the Thai economy has been recovered from the pandemic and underway of laying down strong foundation for boosting up productivity and enhancing growth potential over the medium and long term. It is well aware that there are key challenges in the path of transforming the country that we have to overcome, including aging population and high informality, which affect labor force and fiscal stance, slow productivity growth with way to pursue more favorable business environment, particularly in terms of competition and corruption, and fragmented social protection system. These issues are considered as key for Thailand in unleashing its development potential. Ladies and gentlemen, acknowledging the demographic shift towards an aging society and the consequent challenges, the government realized that rising trend of social spending and thus the actively enhancing fiscal consolidation. Efforts include augmenting revenue from digital tax compliance measures. It's also imperative to emphasize that Thailand boosts a robust fiscal sustainability framework governed by the State Fiscal and Financial Discipline Act and the Medium-Term Fiscal Framework, or MTFF. These legislative instruments not only establish targets and trajectories for fiscal response, but also formulate comprehensive plan for fiscal reform. This includes measures aimed to enhance the capability of revenue collection and optimizing the efficiency of government spending. This is to ensure that the government has sufficient capability to address potential future risks. Regarding the issue of competition, the regulation with respect to boosting countries' productivity, the OECD's recommendation on regulatory impediment faced by businesses, particularly SMEs, offer valuable insight for addressing these challenges. In fact, the government aims to create a business environment that fosters fair competition. Notable strides were made through regulatory reform executed under the regulatory guillotine framework. Institutionally, the establishment of the Trade Competition Commission underscores the dedication to promoting competition and fair trade within Thailand. Later in our panel discussion today, we will discuss this issue with more insight into significant progress in enhancing national productivity through the promotion of competition. Ladies and gentlemen, Thailand has made a commitment to achieve carbon neutrality by 2050 and net zero greenhouse gas emission by 2065, aligning with the 13 National Economic and Social Development Plan's key milestones, in particular the target for Thailand to be a circular economy and low carbon society, and the target to address the impact of natural disaster and climate change. Significant strides have been made in policy implementation, particularly in the transport and energy sector. The National Energy Plan framework underscores our commitment to renewable energy sources, improving energy efficiencies, and the recognition of the energy business. For the transportation sector, the government has consistently prioritized the enhancement of rail system as a key mode of transport, aiming to facilitate a transition in the prevailing logistic paradigm for road-based to rail-based. And actually, the Ministry of Transport will submit the changing of a locomotive fleet from conventional to electrified locomotive very soon. Furthermore, the electric vehicle emerged as a promising solution to mitigate climate change and pollution concerns, aligning with the imperative for a transforming of national manufacturing sector. Consequently, the Thai government has articulated an overarching objective to position the nation as a pivotal hub of EV manufacturing. The implementation of the EV 3.0 and the new EV 3.5 package signify a concerted effort to stimulate domestic demand for electric vehicles through price subsidies, while concurrently incentivizing manufacturers to establish their EV production base within Thailand. This incentive mechanism extends beyond mere cost subsidization, strategically leveraging the recognized strength of the automotive supply chain in Thailand. Evidently, the efficacy of these policies is underscored by a surge in the registration of EVs during the initial 9 months of 2023, marking a remarkable 760% increase compared to a preceding year. Moreover, over 13 world's leading EV companies have already committed, and several top companies worldwide are under consideration to establish production facilities in Thailand. And to achieve the net zero target, mandatory carbon trade system and stringent environmental standards are imperative. The government acknowledged the need for a transitional period to allow sectors to adapt, considering potential economic impact on low-carbon household and SMEs. Further evaluations requirement will include carbon taxes, potential cost increases, and the establishment of an emission trading scheme. The forthcoming Climate Change Act is anticipated to incorporate carbon pricing instrument and provide a clearer framework for a green transition. And moreover, Thailand placed great importance on green innovation with the no tax ceiling on R&D incentive. Challenges remain in enhancing the innovation ecosystem, necessitating additional investment in infrastructure, facilities, technologies, and human development. In response to the recommendation for a new institution to address climate change, the Thai government has approved the organizational restructuring of the Department of Climate Change and Environment. The new department will coordinate climate change policies and address key environmental issues, together with facilitating collaboration among all stakeholders in order to achieve the country's environmental goals. Ladies and gentlemen, this economic survey is one of key projects under the OECD Thailand Country Program Phase 2, which will be undertaken over 3 years from 2023 to 2025. The country program has been designed to support the implementation of Thailand's 20-year national strategy and the 13 national economic and social development plan. And this program encompasses 19 distinct projects strategically organized under 4 key pillars, each addressing critical facets of Thailand's development agenda, including good governance, business climate and competitiveness, social inclusion and human capital development, and green recovery. Currently, I'm pleased to report that all projects are progressing satisfactorily. Multiple Thai agencies are closely collaborating with the OECD and engaging in comprehensive activities through active discussion and organization of meetings and workshops. In addition, coordination between the NSDC and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs are closely undertaken to monitor and evaluate the progress in the country program. The collaborative effort between Thailand and the OECD during this program are instrumental in supporting national reforms and bringing the country closer to OECD standards and regulation. Looking forward, we aspire to seek OECD membership as a notable transformative step for our country. This membership would serve as a catalyst for institutional reform, regulatory enhancement, and improvement across key development dimensions. Regarding the process of accession to the OECD membership, NESDC is in the internal process to submitting the proposal on Thailand's letter of intent to the cabinet. During this period, the NSDC is poised to conduct workshops, including this afternoon session, aimed to fostering awareness across various agencies, helping them better understanding what needs to be prepared for the forthcoming stage of this pivotal process. Ladies and gentlemen, as the host of this event, I would like to express my gratitude to our distinguished panelists and participants. This reminder of today's schedule promises to be enlightening and engaging, featuring insights from experts who will shed light on critical aspects of Thailand's economic recovery and inclusive green growth. This strong collaborative effort is integral into our commitment to leveraging international best practice, ensuring the fortification of our economic and green recovery initiative. We look forward to sustained collaboration and invaluable sharing of insights that will contribute to our advance of Thailand's development goals. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Secretary General Danusha, for shedding light on Thailand's responses to this critical survey and progress of the OECD accession. As we are now giving tokens of appreciation to our distinguished panelists and take a group photo together, I would like to invite our distinguished panelists to come up on the stage to receive our token of appreciation for being able to join us today and take photos together. Thank you, Dr. Jens. Could you please remain on stage for a while, and we will have a group photo shortly after. Next, I would like to invite Dr. Gietipong. Could you please come up on the stage, please? Thank you. I would like to invite Dr. Pan, please. I would like to invite Dr. Akkarapon, please. I also would like to invite Dr. Kwan Pat, please. Next, I would like to invite Dr. Lewis and Mr. Ken to come on stage for the group photo shooting. Again, thank you. Thank you very much for your cooperation. Ladies and gentlemen, the time has come for our first panel discussion, focusing on key policy insights for a robust recovery path of the Thai economy. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to remind you that you can download documents for today's event, particularly the OECD Second Economic Survey, from the QR code printed out after your registration. Second, for all participants with the hotel parking card, please tap your card on the tablet at the registration desk for free parking. Also, all participants are invited for lunch, which will be provided in the Flavors International Restaurant on the left-hand side when you walk out of the ballroom.